Check. If you're hearing the sound of my voice or watching this on YouTube, that means you're now tuned into another chapter of the Introverted Intuition Podcast. My name is Jeff, a.k.a. future New York Times best-selling author. CR is on the way. He should be here momentarily whenever he gets here, but we have a special guest, a returning guest on this podcast that was on our podcast maybe 3 months ago. I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it was around May.
May, yeah.
Probably about May or June or something like that.
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember that episode because I was still in the height of my depression around that time.
I remember. We talked about it.
It was really bad, but I'm glad to have him back in the studio for the first time. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
I am Uncle John. I have Serious and Silliness YouTube channel, and I'm happy to be here.
For those who don't remember, you met CR in a Uber Lyft ride?
Yeah, I have a Dodge Charger Daytona, and I needed work done. So I needed an Uber to go pick up the car, and he was the one that drove me there.
That's amazing. That's still the greatest story of all time.
Yeah, I know.
So there's like a segment I've just now started to add to the show called Word of the Week, where it's basically one word that will kind of guide us throughout the entirety of the episode. Wherever which way we go, the word will still be present. And this Word of the Week is understanding. The definition of understanding is the ability to understand something or to sympathetically be aware of other people's feelings, tolerant and forgiving. I chose understanding because I feel you have a unique understanding of the human condition. The one thing I really didn't forget from that last podcast that we did was your perspective on just life and just people, and I can see that during your throughout your videos as well. So I think that's the perfect word to lead us throughout this episode. And but first, I want to start. How are you? How has 2020 been? How has your year been since maybe our last recording, or just these last few months?
Well, since everything has been cool, with the exception of the obvious shit show that we've been through in 2020. But for the most part, I'm an essential worker, so I never got laid off. My wife had to shut down for a few months, but she's back up and running. Things are going back to normal for the most, slowly going back to normal. She's busy. I'm busy. We just came back from vacation, even though there was nobody there. We were in Aruba for 6 days, but we were like the only people there.
That's so dope. What was that like traveling? Were you like any fears?
No, I'm not afraid of much, man. Like these things don't get to me. Like, you want me to wear the mask, I'll put the mask on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, whatever. To stop over, fine. And right. These things don't really bother me too much.
So, can you just maybe give a brief reminder to the listeners who listened to the episode last time and the newer ones who may not know, what is your profession, your essential job, and what you do on the side?
Okay, so I'm a blue-collar guy with education, if that makes sense. So I'm a sewer worker in New York City, and I'm on the ground all day, uptown. I also do electrical work on the side because my whole family were electricians, the guys anyway. And what happened was I went to college. I have 2 degrees. I have 1 degree in psychology and 1 degree in business. And so that was, but besides fitness, that was always my main interest, the study of people, basically the study of people, and human nature. So I've always kind of kept reading about it, kept searching the internet about it. And then when it was time, I always said, I think it's time to actually put it to use. And I started a YouTube channel. And I called it Serious and Silliness because that's basically what I'm trying to get at. Like the human nature part, I want to be serious, but at the same time, I was trying to be somewhat entertaining. Although the last few episodes have been more serious, and I'm working on something funny. But the last, I would say, maybe 5 episodes I did were more serious than anything else. But I felt it was important. But at the same time, I wanted the channel to be a distraction because of all the crap that's going on. It's depressing. So I was trying to get it to be more of a distraction, like something like, when you put the television on or you read a book or you just want to forget about the day or forget about the nonsense going on. Right. Even though it's difficult to ignore it for a short period of time, but I figure, listen, to 20 minutes or a half hour, you get to listen to me and learn something new or laugh, it's a way out.
I feel some people, a lot of newer creators get into video creation, podcasting, whatever, with the hope of getting more income in the back of their mind. They want to have that as a profession full time. But you're a sewer worker, and I feel like you make a good amount of money. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling money isn't the driving force for you in doing this.
No, it's not. It was basically, it's not. I mean, listen, if it blows up and I start getting paid, that's great. But it's not. This was basically something that I've always wanted to teach, or I've always wanted to, get a PhD. But I had to make a living. I didn't have that privilege of being able to just continue to go to school and continue to take out more loans. So I had to make a living, and so this gave me a platform where it basically satisfies that need of teaching. Even though it's just starting, it satisfies that need of teaching what I think I'm pretty good at.
Right. And you mentioned like your last couple of videos have been relatively serious.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what your last couple of videos were about or centered around, can you maybe give a brief overview? Like, is it more political?
No, I try to stay away from anything political. And even if it's political, it's a side note. So like the last one I did is about dating down. Mostly women that date down. I think it's a big mistake. The one before that I did was about tyrannical fathers. Fathers that are just extremely strict and extremely demanding and might be abusive. The one I did before that was about overprotective, overbearing mothers that are so overbearing that they don't want their kids to leave, so they literally give them no skills whatsoever. Even though they do it unconsciously, they give them no skills to survive in life so that they can't leave because they don't want their children to leave. The one before that, I did what's called Maybe It's the Music. And I related to the lack of depth in music to the bitterness and the anger that's in the country right now.
I have a response to that video, but we'll get into that a bit later. When you choose these topics, I'm curious, like, are any of them pulled from your own personal experiences or maybe other people's experiences? Like, how do you decide what you're going to talk about and when you make a video?
It just hits me. So, like, the music one was on me. The overbearing mother one was comes from just it all comes from experience, whether it's friends or family members or just staying alert and being aware of your surroundings and seeing how relationships are. And I tend to do it very easily. It's difficult for other people, but for me, it's very easy. And that's what I do. My shows. So for example, me and my wife went to dinner in Aruba, and there was a table, and there was a young girl, early 30s, and she was attractive, and she was with this guy who looked very, very, a lot older. And he had, the balding gray hair, and he was very overweight, and he looked like probably at least 20 years older. So I said to my wife, "Oh, look at this couple. You think that's her father, or you think that's her husband?" And she said, "Well, I don't know." And then she took her fork and ate right out of his plate. And I said, "That's her boyfriend. That's her husband. That's not her father." Nobody, no child, no daughter of a father eats right out of a plate. No son eats right out. That is a very intimate moment right there.
Right.
You're like. And what happened was the guy got up because the tables were closed. So the guy got up to go to the bathroom, and my wife and her started talking because my wife is great for that. And I said, "Can I ask you a question that might be a little embarrassing?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Is that your father or is that your husband?" And she goes, "Oh, it's my boyfriend." "Oh, no, okay." So it was just that little moment, and I was able to figure it out. And I seem to be really, really good at that.
Understanding.
So, understanding, if you will. So I seem to be really good at judging character, judging relationships, or at least get the gist of it if I don't know the details. So that's what I base my episodes on.
I feel you may have had to have done a lot of self-reflection to get to this point to be able to accurately judge other people's situations. So
I can tell you all my quirks and problems and flaws in less than a minute and a half, and how I'm trying to work on it, and how I fixed it if I have fixed it, and so on and so forth.
Did school aid in that process, or was it just life?
No, it was. When I went to college, it was a community school, so it really wasn't like a college-y kind of thing. There was a lot of people that were going part-time, they were working and going part-time, so I went to a community school. So, but I mean, the education part of it broadened up, but for the most part, it was life experiences. And for a long time, I figured everybody went through this. But as I got older, I realized, no, it's not. Some people are like those little vacuums. Do you remember those battery-operated vacuums that you just put on the floor?
Yeah.
And when they bounce into one wall, they just turn around and go the other way?
The Roomba, Zumba, whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah, I think most people are like that. They just, hit a bump, and they don't even think about what they're doing.
It's yeah, good.
No, and at first when I realized, I thought that everybody was like this. So I thought that, as you get older, you become more self-reflective, you become more aware, you understand human nature. But then the more people I speak to, the more I realize, no, the majority of people are the same people from 20 to 50 as far as their mentality goes. Unless we're talking to somebody like yourself or somebody that's, somewhat special, that's able to, reflect and look deeply into themselves and so on and so forth. But for the most part, my father used to say, I mean, it's a little raw, but my father used to say 80% of the world are assholes. And I never, and I never really thought about it, well, I thought about it, but I never really thought it was true. And then as I got older, I'm like, wow, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's funny, these past few months have been the most self-reflective I've ever been. Like, it's been like I've gone through like a complete transformation. It's been a complete destruction of who I was and a reconstruction of who I am or who I'm becoming. And I've had to face a lot. I've had to really check myself and pick myself apart to get to this confidence to be who I am at my core today. And it's not easy. I'm sure. Would you agree with that? It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Process to self-reflect.
It's not easy, and it's never finished.
Never, yeah.
It's never finished. I'm 44 years old, and I'm still working on myself. Anybody who looks at themselves through rose-colored glasses is doomed. And that's why I find people so fascinating, because it's strange to me that so many people blame everything else on their issues, but don't look internally. So why I find that so fascinating is because you can't change everybody else.
Right.
You can only change yourself. You only have control of what you do. So if you're saying, for example, I can't seem to find a job. I'm unemployed. I can't seem to find a job. Mm-hmm. Right? If I went on 10 interviews and I can't get a job. Well, I don't think it's the 10 employees that you went to. You probably have to do some self-reflecting and see what adjustments you have to make. And that is the last thing people want to do.
Right.
They just rather blame it. They do it with relationships. They do it with jobs. They do it with everything.
I've had this weird thought through my self-reflective process. Like I was one of those people who would put the blame on like other people. Like I would blame my mom a lot for not being as present in my life growing up. Mm-hmm. But when I took the time to reflect, she was just working to provide. Right. I used to blame my father for not being around mm-hmm. for all the way I turned out because of like, the hate I may have had and may have like his absence may have mm-hmm. shaped me in a certain way. But it's like, no, who you became is who you were supposed to be, and it's no one else's fault.
Right.
And when I started to go through therapy, I'm not really in it as present as much as I should be right now, but I feel like during those moments I was still trying to find myself. I was still trying to lean on something else, another crutch to find myself. But I feel like I needed this time alone to really find myself. I feel like there's no outside source that can help you understand you, if that makes sense.
No, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. And not only, and this is the truth, unless you have somebody that's very close to you and dear to you, not only you're not going to find somebody that's going to help you, you're not going to find somebody that gives a shit.
Yeah.
They don't care. They might say it.
But they might have empathy, but
they don't. They don't give a shit. Unless it's like, a close girlfriend, a close wife, a close friend, a father, a mother. But for the most part, it's on you.
Yeah.
And that's how it is throughout life. And I've noticed that. And here's another thing that people don't want to acknowledge. The people that are accountable are the more successful people. Mm. The people that point the finger and say, no, it's not me, it's this person, it's that, it's this, it's that. Those are the people that will settle for the crumbs that are thrown at them.
I think those accountability is a trait a leader should have. If you want to be a leader of a company, whatever.
It's not even it's even leading your own life.
Yeah.
It's even leading your own life. So, if you are single, right, and you can't find a partner, bearing some very small issues that other people might have, you have to look at yourself and make your own adjustments. You have to lead your own life and say, okay, well, where am I looking? What am I doing? How am I approaching this? And you might have to change all that, in order to get what you want, unless you just like being where you are, but you're just bitching and moaning, which a lot of people do too.
My most recent relationship that I just got out of recently, I felt like that was the one, man. Like I felt like all the pieces lined up except for like our mental states. Like we had both not done enough work on. I'll speak for myself. I had not done enough work on myself to be able to maintain that relationship, and it was it revealed a lot of things about myself. It revealed that I used to use women as a crutch for my own problems. Like I would use them as like a I don't want to say an excuse, but women that I would date were not a healthy escape from my depression. I feel like I would try to rely on them and spend time with them as much as I can to get away from that because they brought me so much. Because they brought me so much peace.
Right.
It was not me facing my own problems. I was just pushing it under the bed. I guess
it was a Band-Aid.
Yeah, a Band-Aid.
A relationship is a Band-Aid. Yeah, and that's going to implode.
It did.
Yeah. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. If you are. That's why when I give people advice about relationships, which is not many, but when people do come to me and they say, I just got out of a relationship, and the first thing I say, the worst thing you could do is jump into another relationship because you're not fixing yourself. You really need to self-reflect, see what the issues are, why didn't this relationship work, and fix yourself or at least heal. Because if you give yourself time to heal, then you can meet a better person and a better person that's suited for you, and it's more fair for the next person that you're going to meet, because you're not completely healed if you just jump right into another relationship, and then the same problems occur in the next relationship.
I have a question, because one thing I heard throughout a few of my relationships was that I was manipulative, but I always looked at it as me being charming. Is there a difference between being manipulative and being charming?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the first thing that I've noticed when people call out somebody else that's manipulative, and they say you're manipulative, odds are you're not the manipulative one they are. I did an episode on gaslighting. I don't know if you saw that one.
I didn't. I don't think I finished that one. No.
Okay, so here is the truth, and no woman is going to agree with me. There are manipulative men out there, but that is not the norm. Women are instinctively manipulative for survival purposes. So, I mean, I can give you plenty of examples. Do you know what I mean? And it could be down to the smallest thing to the grandest thing. All right, so let's take the extremes. Okay, let's take the extremes. When you have somebody who has antisocial personality disorder, like a man, he's usually violent, and that's instinctual to a man. When a man can't get along, or when a man, when a man is angry, violence is his instinct. When you take a woman who has antisocial personality disorder, which is a smaller amount, she isn't violent, but she manipulates somebody else to do the violence for her. And those are the extremes, okay? So I'm just using those extremes as examples. There was a show on Netflix where there was a woman who was out of her mind, but she actually manipulated one man. It was a documentary. She manipulated one man to murder somebody for her, and manipulated him to put together a bank robbery for her, and also manipulated somebody else to actually do the bank robbery. So she manipulated one person to actually set up the bank robbery, and manipulated somebody else to actually do the bank robbery. And it was a terrible fail. It was a disaster, and that's when they got arrested. But she wound up, all the things that she had done that was basically, that she was arrested for, she had made other people do for her. Whereas a man who suffers from anti-social personality disorder, he does it. For the most part. You know, like in my channel, like, you speak generally because it's the study of sociology. So you have people that don't, like a Charles Manson was manipulative, but the majority of serial killers from men do it themselves. So I'm just using this as an extreme.
Right.
And women are the same way. Most women who are extreme in that antisocial way, they're more manipulative. They're not going to do it themselves. They manipulate somebody. They look for a target, somebody that's easily manipulated, and they're able to use them for their purposes. Now you bring those things down to a normal level, right? And basically what happens is, like somebody like yourself or me, if we want to reach a certain goal, we're working hard to go at it and go do it and go and do it and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. So we're getting our hands dirty and trying to do it. Now there are plenty of women that do that too, but there's a lot of women that are at the finish line just waiting when you become successful, right? And that is how they survive, right? So like, I mean, whatever, you could point to a million different places, Arnold Schwarzenegger with the maid, or, you could point to how many different successful men that get to that success, and now all of a sudden women are throwing themselves at them, but wanted nothing to do with them when they were nothing, mm-hmm. right? And that is their way of survival and making it. Now, I'm not saying all women do this. I'm just saying that is a common trait, right? There are plenty of women that work hard and go for theirs. But odds are, if somebody is calling you manipulative, they're probably doing the ones that are manipulating. They're probably gaslighting.
I never really understood what it meant when they said it to me, because I looked at myself. I am a charming individual. So it's like, if I'm saying things in a certain way to get you to feel a certain way and you can't resist that, I didn't think that was anything wrong, because like the feeling has been, it's vice versa feeling. Like you do things, like the woman would do things to me that make me feel a certain way and get me emotional and get me want to cater to her and stuff like that. So it's like, we're both manipulative.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, there are certain terms that are thrown around, right? But there's good manipulation, there's bad manipulation, right? I mean, if you're manipulating somebody who, for a purpose that is evil or not good, like that woman that I told you set up the bank robbery, but if you're manipulating someone to push them into a direction that they need to go, like, all right, so for example, let's say you have a husband and wife, and the husband is having some serious business problems. He's the breadwinner, he has some serious business problems, and it might be financial, and he's feeling the burden of it. And he goes home, and of course he talks to his wife about it, because that's your life partner. And, you could have two outcomes. You could have one girl that says, oh, God, you're good for nothing, you're crap, you're nothing, what the hell is wrong with you? How'd you get us into this? Which would be terrible manipulation, making you feel terrible. But on the flip side is there could be women, and I know women like this. I have family members, my sister-in-laws and whatnot are just like this, and they say, you know what? Don't worry about it. You're stronger than that. You're smarter than that. You're going to get us out of this. You'll find a better job. You'll get another job. You're smarter and you're stronger than you think you are. And they actually manipulate you to go out and do better and be more assertive. And that's always the kind of partner you want in life. I mean, unless you literally are good for nothing.
Is that the kind of partner you have?
My wife is very good like that. Thank God I don't need a lot of talking to. But I know when I'm in trouble, or when I'm have an issue, and I know when I have to, lace up the boots and get going. But I will voice it to her, and she's not the best cheerleader, but she is a cheerleader when I need her to be.
You are 44.
Yeah.
I'm 29. We come from two different eras and two different perceptions on love and marriage. I feel in my generation, it's becoming a lot less.
I bet you we don't.
Maybe.
I bet you we don't. I bet you that's just...
I'm assuming that.
Yeah. I bet you we don't. Human nature doesn't change.
Right.
Instinct and human nature doesn't change. You could pick up a book from the Middle Ages, and you could read poetry, and it would sound like something of today. Like you could read about a guy that is... I don't know, in love with a woman that's 15 years old, right? And the same thing could be going on today. The human nature for men and women don't change. Society changes, right? Society changes, but your instincts don't change, right? So another example: women are very successful today, and the more successful the woman, the more that she wants somebody just as successful or more so than she does. They don't like to date down. So if you have like a corporate lawyer who is making $500,000 a year, and she has a husband that's not up to par, she that's a turnoff for her. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like that idea, and that's instinctual, right? Whereas a man, it's the complete opposite. As long as you're my wife and I need to take care of you, then my instinct is to take care of my wife and my family. Now, I'm not saying there are women that don't do that, but I'm just saying there are women out there that instinctively get turned off by a man who doesn't make as much money or doesn't have a full-time job and will stay home and take care of the kids while you're going out and bring the breadwinner.
Vice versa.
I'm sorry?
And vice versa. Like, I'm turned off by a girl who's not as ambitious, as creative, or full-time job, whatever. Like,
yeah, I am not. I think the majority of men aren't turned off by somebody who's not as ambitious, but at least have some ambition. So I don't get turned off. Like, okay, look, there's a difference between somebody who refuses to work and is just lazy and makes excuses, or somebody that goes to work every day but just doesn't make as much money as their partner thinks they should. That's a different story, right? Mm-hmm. I would never date a girl that doesn't have a job, but I wouldn't care if a girl had an okay job, right? Like if I met a girl and she had the traits I want in a woman, I don't care if she's a secretary somewhere or, bagging groceries at ShopRite. If she has the certain traits, the certain feminine traits that I want in a woman, that's what I'm looking at, because instinctually, I'm the one that's supposed to provide.
For sure. But I guess for me, I would just need the understanding of, because the awareness that what you're doing, like, I just don't like, I feel like I've dated women who are just really comfortable with what they're doing. They're not really looking up towards a bigger goal. They're looking left and right about their next paycheck. Like, and it's just like, I just need that understanding, that awareness that what you're doing now shouldn't be, unless you're truly happy, then that's fine. But it's like, just, I want that awareness and understanding that there's more out there for you.
Yeah. That's going to be tough. Only because, this is just from my experience and from my, background, my education and whatnot. When you have two people that want to lead, or two people that want dominant, two people that are that ambitious, it's difficult to work out in a relationship. You usually need somebody who is leading and somebody who is the caretaker, if you will, for lack of a better word. Or somebody that is your backbone, or somebody that is your strength. Mm-hmm. That usually seems to be the most successful relationship formula. Now, don't get me wrong, whatever works, right? I mean, if you have two people that are corporate lawyers, and hey, great. But the thing is, the issue is now, what about things that happen like children? Mm-hmm. Well, somebody's got to take a back seat.
Yeah.
Right? Because who's going to raise the kids, And that's usually the big question mark. So somebody's got to take a step back and not bring home a paycheck for some time so that the next person could step up, right? Mm-hmm. And traditionally, it's usually the man that does it and the woman takes a step back. And usually the man is, and when you have kids, not that I have kids, but I kind of understand. When you have kids, you'll see. Everything else comes second. Mm-hmm. Everything else comes second, but it's different. So you'll have a woman that'll have children, and everything comes second, taking care of the kid in a compassionate way. Right? And it's almost obsessive, which it's supposed to be, because as an infant, they don't have any way of taking care of themselves, right? Where a man is like, okay, I really have to work hard now and make a living because I have to raise my child, and I need to put them through school and so on and so forth. That usually is the balancing formula, Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, look, I know it's a different society and a different world and so on and so forth, but at the end of the day, my experience has always been, at the end of the day, that formula works the best. I mean, if somebody could prove me wrong, that's great. So I've seen women that make more money and the guy doesn't make much money, but then there's always seems to be a lack of respect toward the guy, right? Unless he is one of those really manipulative pieces of shit that just makes his wife work and convinces her that she needs to work and I don't have to do anything. Those guys are out there too. But we're not talking about that, right? We're talking about a regular, healthy relationship, family kind of deal. Usually, if that's the case, usually the woman loses interest or the woman isn't sexually charged by that guy anymore.
Right.
You know?
I brought up like the difference in between like the perceptions of our views on marriage and a generational gap, generational views of marriage, because like the only for a long time in my life, even still parts of today, the only versions of healthy relationships that I really ever truly saw were on television. The sensationalized, fake, not real versions of love.
Yeah.
And through my different experiences with love and it's not working out, it kind of like changed my tune and my desire to want to get married.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable being single, not just because I'm on an entrepreneurial path, because I have so much I want to accomplish and I have the freedom to do so, but because I just can, the feeling of being able to do what you want and see who you want and talk to whoever you want, it just feels really, really good. And I'm curious, what was the defining factor that made you want to commit to your wife?
You're going to get to a certain age where your values will change somewhat. And nobody wants to be alone. And then what'll happen is, because I went through the same thing. I was single at 29. And then what'll happen is you'll make it financially successfully because you have the drive and whatnot, and you'll be looking for a life partner. You'll say, you know, I want somebody that I'm going to have children with, or somebody that's I'm going to grow together with, and then you start looking for a partner that will happen. You know, I mean, some people find it earlier and grow together. It all depends. You have to find somebody on the same page, right? But you have to get married. And this is why I say you have to get married. I mean, I know that it's difficult for young men to get married now because if they get divorced, they could lose everything. Mm-hmm. And I know that, you know, the types of women out there can be very difficult, you know, to get somebody who's going to be a lifelong partner and so on and so forth. But you have to get marriage to a man and even to a woman to a certain degree keeps you grounded and keeps you working toward your responsibilities. Mm-hmm. All right? So if you get married and you have a wife and you have children, your drive becomes greater because now you have responsibilities, and those responsibilities give you value, right? That's what gives you value. The fact that you are raising children, the fact that you are providing for your wife or at least 50-50 with your wife, and you buy a home together and you create a life, that's at end all be all. That is where you want to be because that's happiness, that's value, and you're starting the next generation. If you choose to be single forever, which is fine. I mean, I have guys I work with that are that. They are miserable because they go home and they have nothing, right? They have a bank account that could choke a horse because they don't have to spend a dime their whole life,
right?
But they are alone and they have nothing. And then I have friends at work that have kids and they're putting them through college and they're proud of them, and kids that are. I had a friend who's just recently retired. His son got married and his wife is expecting, and him and his wife, they're going to be grandparents, and they are so excited. And it reignites those levels of life, reignite the potential you have as a human being. Every time you go into a different endeavor, though, that potential is reignited. So it's like going to school for the first time. You have that anxiety, you have that nervousness, but you have that like, you know, happiness at the same time. Every time you enter a different endeavor, you reignite those feelings again. And it's the same thing with marriage and children and working toward giving your children a better life and seeing grandchildren and so on and so forth. And that also, it gives everybody around you pleasure, not just you and your wife. It gives your mother looks at you, your parents look at you, and they're proud of you because they know you're going in the right direction in life. There's very few guys that are successful entrepreneurs and aren't married. If you look at it,
That's true.
Facts.
Very, very, very few. I mean, there are guys that postpone it, and push it out of the way, right? Like Steve Jobs, right? I mean, he pushed that. He even had an illegitimate daughter he wanted nothing to do with until Apple got off the ground. But it is having a happy marriage gives you stability, it gives you security, it gives you happiness, and it gives you value. And I truly believe that everybody should get married. Not rush into it. That's a mistake. I mean, everything. There are levels to everything. But who the hell wants to be 65 and single and no family and no grandkids and no nieces, no nothing, and you're alone on the holidays? That's not living. That's just being.
It is miserable.
Yeah.
I just walked in, so I missed this. What's good, man? I walked in on Uncle John dropping gems as usual.
That's
Yo,
right,
we've been dropping gems since we started, bro.
Damn, that's the energy I need, yo.
How are you, bro?
Man, today was a rough fucking day, bro.
You want to talk about it?
Can I? Do you guys give a shit? Yo, man. All right. So first off, everything you're saying is so true because I feel like that's when you're recognizing your manhood, right?
Absolutely.
When you are ready for that next level of responsibility,
Sure.
right? And one thing that I love that I really, really learned from you is that you really have to build value in yourself first.
Yes.
So that's the stage that I'm at right now. I just turned 28. You know what I'm saying? I've been on my own since I was 18, so I didn't really have too much, support from my parents to help me, but I still been able to do good for where I'm at. And now it's getting deeper, right? So now that I'm making more money, it's really true. More money, more problems, because I used to be on Section 8, but now that I'm making a certain amount of money, I can't get their help anymore. So now they're trying to charge me an arm and a leg for this, ghetto ass apartment. So now I got to move because I'm not gonna pay that shit and live in a shitty apartment. It's time to step up and go to another neighborhood. But it's stressful because I never, being truthfully honest, I've been on my own, but I never had to pay a full rent,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is big for me. This is a big deal for me.
The more comfortable you get tackling life's endeavors, the more confidence you will build. And it's real confidence.
Yeah.
It's life confidence.
Yeah.
And then you'll see, because this has happened to me, then you'll see that women become more and more interested because you're giving off a different energy.
That's what's happening, because I'm not shying away from these challenges.
You can tell between fake confidence and real confidence.
Yes.
Fake confidence is, in my life, fake confidence was the Italian kid that went down to the Jersey Shore and wanted to fight everybody. Right? He got drunk, he got all fucked up, and he's
trying to go for the biggest guy.
21 years old. That's not real confidence. That's foolishness. Real confidence is how we explain. Right? And same thing for a woman. A girl that is 20 years old and waits online with a skirt up to like here to get into a club, and she's freezing, and she gets in the club and she's all like she's turning guys down because they want to talk to her because she's hot. That's not real confidence. That's bullshit. That's foolishness. That woman that mothers 2 and 3 kids and brings those kids up and has a tremendous marriage, when she gets to that point in life where she's kind of experienced in life, that's real confidence. Like, you can't pull the wool over those women's eyes. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
You can't.
And it's like, I started noticing the difference too, because before I was mostly dating women who didn't have kids, and then I started dating women who did have kids, and there's a total difference in the mentality.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, what I'm saying, like, typically speaking, they've tapped into their womanhood because they've given life. Typically speaking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've given life, and now they had a different perspective and a different, energy when it comes to like taking care or being nurturing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? There's a nurturing factor
It's instinctual.
There's
I did an episode on overbearing mothers, and there's this famous painting. I don't know who did it. I don't remember, but it's a painting of Mary holding Jesus up. And she's got her foot on a serpent's head, and she's holding an infant up and keeping him away from the serpent. So it's basically showing the image of a mother protecting her child from evil, and that is instinctual, and that is that's the type of woman you want to marry.
Yeah.
You know,
Period.
there was I did another episode where like, it said this one's for the ladies. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's basically the value that we want in women when it's time to settle down. And my attitude is like we were talking before. It's great if you want to have a career and you want to have a job, but those values aren't what's men are looking for when it's time to get married and have a family. We're looking for those feminine traits: compassion, love,
Yes.
maternal instincts,
Yes.
a partner in life, so on and so forth. I mean, you could still do that and have a career and have a job, right?
Yeah.
You know, we were just saying when they have children, they have to kind of take a back seat.
Yeah.
But that's when a real man
Steps
up,
up.
yeah.
Steps up to the
right?
plate.
That's
yeah.
it. That's and that. Like I don't care what time period is. I don't care who you are. I don't care. If you're a man who steps up to the plate and has a backbone and works hard and demands respect and takes care of his family, that woman will respect you.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're a man who goes to work and he's kind of in Italian we call him a mutt, right? And it just, I mean, that's the equivalent of a bitch. You know, somebody that she's not gonna respect you. It's just not gonna happen. I've seen it time and time again. You know, but it is something that it's a combination of life learned and a combination of your background.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to hear about the rest of your day in a second, but I want to share like kind of what dating. My last relationship was with a woman who had a child, and it taught me two things. It taught me you and I spoke about how we sometimes require that nurturing feeling from our partners to thrive, to make the relationship thrive, and dating a woman with a child kind of helped take that feeling away because I wasn't the main priority. The relationship wasn't the main focus. It was always the child.
Yeah.
So it helped me check myself and realize there are people out here who do for others before they do for themselves. So it's like I can't be selfish enough to expect that woman to do for me before her child.
Of course.
No, that's a fact.
And it also taught me to learn how to care and appreciate. I don't know how to say this other than it taught me how to care and appreciate for another human being. Because in that relationship, I didn't have to just take care of and provide for my partner, but for her child as well. It was always a package deal.
You just have to be careful.
It helped me grow a bit.
You just have to be careful because there are certain women out there that, and again, I know I'm gonna. You know what? I
No filter. Just say it.
yeah.
Just say it.
I'm gonna say it because it's the truth. There are women out there that are going to look for a guy who is going to take care of her kids, and they'll use their kids as a pawn in manipulating it. They will, I hate when a girl says, if I before I got married, I dated a girl with a kid, and that's actually a funny story because after me, she was engaged 3 times. And never got married. So I said, what, do you just collect engagement rings? What? But anyway, I hate when a girl says, I'm not looking for somebody to take care of my kid. I take care of my own kid. Well, that statement is irrelevant. And the reason why it's irrelevant is because if I'm in a relationship with you and your child is there, I'm always going to take care of him.
Yes. It's an unsaid obligation.
Yeah, I'm always. What am I gonna do? So it's a Saturday night, and we order food, and I go, only for you and me. Better stay consistent. You said you don't need anybody to take care of that kid. Christmas comes around, and nope, not buying that kid anything. You know, he's got to go back to school. He ain't getting any clothes from me. Forget it. That's crap.
Next thing you know, you're a jerk.
Yeah,
Right?
no. So that's never gonna happen. That guy is going to, because it's instinctual for a man to take.
To take care of his tribe.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is. And there are certain women that and here's a red flag of when you know whether that woman appreciates it or not. If you try to discipline that child that's not yours because he's doing something stupid, he's acting a fool or whatever, and you try to discipline him and she steps in and says, "Don't you discipline my child. That is my kid."
Yeah.
Then she's just taking advantage of you. Because if your kid is acting up and you as or the stepfather, and you step in and go, well, don't talk like that to your mother. You know what I mean? Don't say that to your mother. And she says, mind your business. That
stings.
That's a red flag that you are being used.
Manipulated.
Yeah.
You're not being desired. You're being manipulated.
You are being used. Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about your day, CR.
Yeah,
Why were you
sorry
late
about
to
that.
the podcast?
Well, I was like trying to find apartments and stuff because like I'm not trying to keep paying the the $1,200 for this apartment that I'm living at now. I rather, if I'm gonna pay that, I rather at least be in a better place. So I went, because I never really went looking for an apartment. Even when I got this apartment, it was through some people that I knew that helped me because they knew the person who owned the property and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is my first time actually, okay, so you gotta like fucking pay an application fee, and then they do fucking background check, like, your credit report. I have good credit and all that stuff. So it's just like, I just never did the process. So I had to do all of that. And, honestly, like I said, this is me really stepping into my manhood and really, I've been taking care of myself, but this is going to be to a different level. You know what I'm saying? Like now, like, honestly, I'm moving up to the middle class. Like I was, that's really what's happening right now. I'm emerging. So it's like, it's a little scary, to be honest.
It is.
It's a little scary because I do everything alone. I'm single, not married. My parents, they unfortunately can't help me. So it's like when I do step up, it's like, yo, I got to make sure I can handle this. And I believe I can. I just got to, put myself in that water and start swimming.
Well, the research shows that the children of parents that grow up modestly usually become more successful than the children of parents who give them everything.
That's true.
Because they handed everything, and then they can't do anything themselves.
Yeah.
So the research actually shows that kids that grow up modestly usually become more successful and more reliable and more responsible.
Yeah, and that's been me.
Of course,
that's been me.
That's the truth. But then at the same time, I'm sure it's hard for a parent who is successful to go, how do you expect me not to give
everything to
my kid?
Yeah.
I think as an irresponsible parent who kind of thinks that.
Yeah.
I think there has to be a balance. I feel like you have to find a merit for your kid to follow once you have a lot of money. Yeah. Have a different way of having them earn whatever it is you're trying to give them. That's really the concept they have to understand, is just earning,
That's kind of similar related to why I hate influencers who don't reach back, because it's like you kind of forget what it took for you to get there, right? Mm-hmm. The same thing with those parents. They kind of may have forgot or lost sight of like what it took for them to get what they're able to provide. Mm-hmm. So they should keep that. They should never forget that journey and provide the same information and same tools they needed to win to their children.
Yeah. The thing is, you got to remember that it's easier just to give and not have the hassle, and that's where a lot of parents fail. They just basically just go, oh, just buy him the car. Just go.
Just to shut him up.
I wish I could hear that shit.
You know what I mean? Just go and, get him what he needs. I don't want to hear it, Mm-hmm. It's easier to do that than say something like, get yourself a part-time job and save up half the money for whatever you want, and I'll match it, right? It's because it's easier to say, I got it. Don't just... And I see that a lot. Being Italian, come from Italian background, I see it a lot with the women, the girls.
They get spoiled.
The Italian girls are spoiled. Princesses. Like, not all of them. I don't want to, but it got so bad that I actually refused, when I was single, I refused to date Italian girls. Like, it got that bad. I was just like, this is not happening.
Because they expected a lot.
Yeah, it was retarded.
Of course.
They tell you they don't.
Yeah.
They tell you they don't, but it's it's ridiculous.
I've dated some princesses before.
Yeah, it's
and
not fun.
I know how it is.
It's not fun because they just. Small example. I remember I dated this Italian girl. It was really pretty, and it only lasted 1 or 2 dates because I couldn't deal with it. We'd get out of the car, and she'd be 3 feet in front of me, like I wasn't even there. Meanwhile, I'm taking her out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So she wasn't all walking arm in arm, or at least next to me. She'd be walking in front of me.
As if you're following her.
Yeah, as if I'm not even existed. I don't even exist, I went to Atlantic City with a girl, the girl who had the kid, and she broke off with her friend. Well, she had one single friend that was there. Everybody else was there, and it was couples. And she left me by the bar while she was dancing with her single friend, with all the guys all around, and so on and so forth, like I was nothing. So, I mean... Then I just after that, I never spoke to her again. I was like, nah, this ain't happening.
Nah, it's not. You know your value.
Yeah, and
you're not going to be treated that way.
But there are plenty of guys
who will allow that.
Who allow it because and if you look at their background, their parents are usually the same way, and or their parents treat them a certain way, and they do truly believe that this is all they can. This is all they're good for.
Uncle John, I have been labeled crazy at times, but when you speak about these past situations, I don't know why my brain registers a bit of hurt, still kind of untucked from those situations, or maybe anger, resentfulness.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, listen, it's not anger. It is just being. It's these are the things that make you grow, and you have to be able to key on these things that make you grow.
Right.
Because if you don't, I mean, there have been times but we've all been there, right? We've all been in situations where a girl treats you, and I'll be the first one to say I've treated girls like shit in my past. So it's been a balance, but we've all been there where a girl treats you terrible, treats you bad, or so on and so forth. But it's a learning process, and if you don't remember it and you don't learn from it, then you're just the same person you were when you first started. You know, you're never gonna learn.
It's all about growth.
Yeah, it is. And that's what makes you a better person as an adult. You know, and that's why you could have children, or you could see your nieces and your nephews and be like, I know what you're going through. You're taking the wrong steps, but they have to learn on their own, and that's really it, you know.
I know I had to learn the hard way when it came to dating, because nobody really schooled me. Oh, my God.
Yo.
I've gotten stood up.
Oh, yeah. That's plenty of times. I got, listen to this. This is the best. I met this girl.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Her name was Jen. I don't remember her last name. I remember she had a tattoo on her arm. I should have realized this at the time, but she had a tattoo of a Celtic cross on her arm, which she was very sexy. So she was single, and we started talking, and we were gonna hang out, and I was gonna take her out. And it was the winter time. So I was working full time as an electrician. I did some side work, so I had some extra money in my pocket. So I called her up when I got home, and I said, what are you doing? She goes, I'm buying an outfit to go out tonight. I said, okay, great. So she goes, call me, whatever, like 8 o'clock, and I'll give you my address, and we'll go. I was like, okay, sounds good. I made all the plans, blah, blah, blah. I call her up, no answer. Call her up at the second time, no answer. Third time, no answer. All of a sudden, my phone rings, and this is back when we had flip phones, I know I'm old.
Stone Ages.
Yeah, exactly. It's the truth. And she calls me, and it's a strange number, and it's some other girl. And she goes, John? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, this is so-and-so, and I know Jen's friend. I went, okay. I said, what's up? She goes, Jen fell down the stairs on ice and hit her head, and she's in the hospital. And at first, I thought to myself, why would anybody make up such a terrible lie? So I believed it. So I'm like, is she okay? What hospital is she at? I was like,
can I go see her?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, no, they're going to let her out, like, real soon, you know. Yeah, they're going to let her out. I'll tell her to call you when she gets home. So I'm still believing it, right? So she calls me. I was like, what happened? What's going on? She was like, I slipped on ice on my head. And I was like, and I was, of course, I was being the good dude. And I was like, look, just when you feel better, I'll take you out. Don't worry about it. Just heal up, feel better, and once you feel better, we'll go out. All right? No hard feeling. So she must have felt bad, but instead of just coming forward and being like, look, nothing, she just said, oh no, I feel fine. I'm going out with my girlfriend right now. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, I'm going to whatever club this was. And then I was just like, yeah.
I would have hit up one of her friends after that.
And I just went.
Not even consistent with your lies.
Yeah. So
not even thoughtful enough to be consistent with your lies.
I just didn't understand why would you need to make up such a terrible lie.
That was graphic.
If you don't want to hang out with me, just ignore me. I'll get the hint.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or just say,
ridiculous.
And I'll get the hint. Now don't get me wrong. Like there've been times where I've been with girls and I hit it and quit it, and they're blowing up my phone, and I'm like, what happened? And that's been the case too. But it goes both ways.
I remember, man, I was in high school. And there was this girl. I'm not gonna drop no names because I'm still very close to Matt.
Make up a name.
School.
Yeah.
All right.
Flex your creativity.
All right. Shania Waker.
Okay, Jesus, what a name.
That's a terrible name.
Shania Waker. So Shania, what I'm saying? She was cool, pretty, brown skin, you know what I'm saying? Always peeped her around school. So, oh man, I was such a nerd when it came to females, bro. So I was just like, I thought every girl that you wanted to have sex with, you gotta take them on a date, right? So, but technically you should, guys. Yeah. But anyway, I was in high school, so I asked her out to go to the movies or whatever. So I had to take 2 fucking buses to get to the movies.
Okay.
Two fucking buses.
Okay.
All right, I'm like 16. You know, I got a little money in my pocket. I got a job at the mall, the same mall that we're going to see the movie at. You know what I mean? So I pull up. You know, I'm fresh to death.
What you had on, the Hollister?
Yeah. I had on some Hollister.
Hollister never fit me.
I think I had some American Eagle jeans.
Wow.
I was feeling myself. So I'm waiting for her to pull up. I'm waiting. And then, you know, I'm still waiting. So then, you know, I hit her phone up. And then she's like telling me she's on the way or whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I guess we'll just catch the later movie. You know, and now it's like an hour passed by. Then I called her again. She's like, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I think she made some bullshit ass lie. Like her mom said she couldn't come outside or some shit. And I was just like, yo, that was my first time dealing with like real rejection like that. And I was just like, damn, like, yo. And then later on, she ended up fucking one of my best friends in my backseat.
Yeah. That's what happens to the nice guys.
Yep.
That's what happens.
I stopped
to the nice
being
guys.
a fucking nice guy.
That's what happens. You don't want to. You got to be balanced. You don't want to be not nice. You don't want to be rude. You don't want to be nasty.
You don't want to be rude.
You could be a nice alpha.
You can.
I think this.
You just have to do it internally. So like you know. All right. Look. Men want sex.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. But what do women want?
Relationship.
Exactly.
Some women want sex though.
No, but
They want the relationship more than the sex.
Right, exactly. They want you to. I've very rarely met a girl that just wanted sex and was like, later.
That's very rare. And if they that's what they want, then they've been through something.
They're a freaking sociopath.
Right.
I want to go through my phone.
You know, so if you just girls will dangle sex in front of you so that you become a puppy dog, and if you dangle a relationship in front of them, the same effect happens. You know what I mean? Like you go out and you hang out with a girl and everything is great, and then you don't even try to hit it. Just drop her off and be like, all right, you know, and then don't call her. You know, then she's gonna be scratching her head, going, what the hell? You know, why isn't? Especially if she's hot,
and especially if you guys had a good time.
If she's good looking and you had a good time, she's scratching her head, and then either she'll call you or maybe you wait a few days and call her and then say, you know, you want to hang out, and then this time, you know, now the curiosity and the feelings are growing.
Yep.
Now it's like, yo, what did I do? What, you know?
I've been using that strategy from the video too.
Guys usually can't. He's obviously interested. He wouldn't have taken me out. We had a great time. And then she starts thinking, and that's what you kind of have to do in order to keep them interested. Because if you just
give them a definitive,
if you just throw yourself at them and go, I am all yours, it is like
no,
it never works.
It'll never work.
Never works.
You're not valuable to them.
No, it never works. It is.
Damn, yo, it's so true. And another thing that you said that I think I got it from your video. I know it was something similar where you were saying you should when you're dating, let the women know you have options.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
First off, they have a different level of respect for you when you tell them straight up that you have other options.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're like, okay, he knows his value. Like, you know, he's not going to fuck around. You know, if I don't give him what he wants, he's going to find it somewhere else. And he's telling me that.
I speak straight, dude. Do you know what I mean? Like my YouTube channel, 80% guys will learn from it. I speak straight. Only hate comments I get are for women. Only hate. You got to look at it this way. It is if you give yourself, if you're ready to commit in a second because you know, I like this girl. I'm ready to. It is the equivalent to when a girl gives you sex on the first date.
Yes, it is. You're right.
And it's like you just give this to everybody.
Right. You start questioning
And
the
you
value
go,
of that.
yeah. You go. I guess
even if she's pretty, you're just like,
you get, you know,
like,
and it's the same thing. They're going, you're just ready to settle down with anybody,
right?
And they just, even if they don't even realize it instinctively. They just,
it turns them off.
It turns, you know.
I don't tell women that I'm talking to other people because that should be assumed if I'm single.
Yeah,
and
you don't have to tell them. They have to feel it on. You got to understand that women is everything. Women is everything about emotion. Everything is emotional with women, so they have to feel it from you. That's why when I said, don't call them, act like you ain't nothing. She's thinking, There's got to be somebody
Somebody
else.
else.
There's got to be somebody else. There's this great comedian. If you ever get a chance to listen to him, his name is Patrice O'Neill.
Of course.
And he died
Legend.
a few and he did this skit on sport fishing. Did you ever see that one? He said that men are like sport fishing. So, when you're single, you go out and you fish to eat, right? But when you go out sport fishing, you don't fish to eat. You just fish for fun. And then, some of the girls are fish that jumped up on the boat and just was like flapping and going, "Do you come here every week?" and then you're stuck with that one fish, right? But then you're out fishing, and then you like basically catch the fish. You show it to your friends because you have the ability to catch fish. You might take a picture of it to show somebody, and then you release the fish back into the water. Right? And then when you go home, she's gonna smell that fish on you, and she's gonna know you could still catch fish. And that's how a girl continues to find you sexy, knowing that you could still catch a fish. Because then they'll start saying shit like, "You still fishing?" Yeah, of course I'm still. But you guys still got a boat? Yeah, I got a boat. Why you need a boat if you gotta still go fishing? You don't need that boat anymore. And it's
Got
just,
fish at home.
yeah. It is difficult. It's difficult for men to understand, and it takes a long time for men to fully understand. And but once, like I was saying before, human nature doesn't change, and once you understand it,
It's consistent.
it's just boom, boom, boom. It might be different in the craziness, like the level of craziness you are with at the girl, but it's the same crap.
Yeah.
It's just crazier or more. It's just more crazy, if you will.
Ever since I watched that video that you posted.
Which one? And you said you watched a couple of them too, right?
Yeah, I have a response to the music video one.
Oh, okay.
The music one in a second. But go ahead.
Good. Which one was it that you watched?
It was the one.
Because at this point, I put out like a
trying to-
20-something of them.
I don't remember the exact title of it, but I remember the content of it. It was the one that you were talking about all of this, and you're talking about being an alpha male, building value in yourself before being able to actually settle down.
Right. Is it this? It's either this one's for the don't the one I put up with the Frank Sinatra.
Yes, yes. Exactly, it was Frank Sinatra at the end. So it was that video.
Yeah.
So like
a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people, nobody even talks about that. Ronan Farrow is obviously Frank Sinatra's son. Did you see that video?
No.
Frank Sinatra was married to what was her name? I don't even remember. In the late '60s, Frank Sinatra was married to I forgot what actress it was. Oh my God, Mia Farrow. And they brought out Sinatra was probably the equivalent of Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Very alpha, very whatever he needed to snap a finger and whatnot. And they got divorced after 2 or 3 years or whatnot. And she wound up with in the early '80s. She started dating. Jesus Christ, what was the comic's name? Woody Allen. And they were together up until the early '90s. And Woody Allen and Mia Farrow had a daughter. Listen to me. They had a son. They had an adopted daughter. But they had a son, Mia Farrow. And, she said to Woody Allen, I'm pregnant, and your son, and he raised it as his own. And then when you see the picture of Ronan Farrow now and a picture of Woody Allen, they look nothing alike. But when you see a picture of Ronan Farrow and Frank Sinatra, they are the spitting image. It is one face, even down to the blue eyes. So clearly, she was manipulating Woody Allen because he was obviously the weaker of the two and was still sleeping with Frank Sinatra and went home and said to Woody Allen, "Oh, it's your baby."
For the record, I found the title. It was Maybe It's the Music.
No.
That wasn't it?
No, it's
Be Desired by Women.
Yeah, Be
Don't
Desired.
be manipulated.
Right.
That's the one. Yeah. So after I watched that video, it definitely changed my perspective on dating. Definitely improved my options because I started putting value in myself and I started releasing the fish back into the water rather than keeping them on the boat.
Right.
And that's the video that kind of sparked that question I had for you earlier, like
Sure.
the difference between manipulation and being charming.
Yeah. Being charming, when you say being charming, I guess you could, I guess you can consider it manipulation, but manipulation has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
So, listen, look, I don't believe being charming is being manipulative. Men have to be charming, right? Women are like that. Women are like that with the royal kingdom in the UK where the queen lives, and they have the red guard with the thing, and he doesn't say anything, right? And you got to like disco dance to try to put a smile on his face.
Yeah.
You're the dude trying to disco dance, and the girl is like this. So
Yeah.
you have to be charming. You
have
got
to
to
be.
know
That
you
charisma is what makes you stand out.
you have to
right?
be charismatic and not be annoying at the same time.
You gotta be smooth
Because girls start from the
for the mind.
down. So what I mean by that is girls want to know everything about you. They want to know that they're comfortable with you. They want to know they're going to have a good time with you.
Yeah.
They want to know that you can make them laugh. And then they become more sexually attracted to you. A man, the most sexually attracted a man is to a woman is the first time he sees her.
That's the truth. That novelty.
That's it.
It's novelty that makes them.
I mean, you
the
could see a girl
truth.
walking across the street and you go, damn. And then you could have one conversation with her and go, ugh.
It's so
That's all it
true.
takes.
It's that
It's,
novelty effect because
but
it's
even
brand new.
even if you meet the girl and you hit it off with them, it's still not as
good as the
good as
first
the
time.
first time you see that
very
person.
first
yeah,
time.
and
It's so true.
These are all things that people, for some reason, are afraid to say, afraid to talk about. But human nature doesn't change. This is the same shit from the beginning of time. And it'll never change. I don't care what anybody says. This shit will never change. Society changes, but instinct and human nature doesn't change.
It's pretty consistent.
So what were you going to say about the music one?
Well, it was just a thought. Like, the premise of the video is you thought that the music that was being made these days is a reflection of a current state of our country.
Well, what I was saying, and it was a very loose connection.
Very loose.
It was a very loose, and I made that apparent in the video. And I said maybe, just maybe. It's not, it's not. It's a small possibility, or it's maybe a small part of the problem. But music was always deep. It was always a reflection of the time. It always had meaning. Any kind of art always had meaning until corporations get a hold of it and they just want to squeeze every dollar out of it. Then it becomes superficial.
And it becomes about mass production.
Yeah, and then I feel like today's mainstream music is like that. It is basically just, I mean, I'm sure there are artists that are making great music that's deep and have meaning, but you got to search for it. It's not mainstream. It's not something you're going to hear all the time. There's no more music about a man singing to his girl or a man singing to his lady. There's no more wedding songs or anything like that. I don't hear anything like that. Those great Lionel Richie songs.
That's true. They don't make wedding songs
You know,
anymore. That I could agree with for sure.
And then there's a lot of anger in the country. So, and nobody's trying to bring it together. So what I mean by that is music was an outlet when I was young. In the 90s, when I was growing up, and even before that, music was an outlet. If you were angry, and you could listen to gangsta rap, and it would reflect on what you were feeling, right? Like even today, what's going on, and you listen to, like I said, things don't change much. You listen to NWA or Public Enemy back then, and they're feeding you exactly what you feel, and you go, yeah, I'm not the only one. That's exactly what's going on. You don't have that today. And even if the goth rock and roll back in the 90s, I forgot what they called it, I don't even remember, the Nine Inch Nails and Pearl Jam. That was targeting the rejects, the outcasts. And it was, there was Pearl Jam had a song about a guy committing suicide. I forgot the name of the song. Jeremy. It was called Jeremy. And there's plenty of kids that feel that way. And they were, and it was mainstream, and you listen to it and you go, yeah, okay, well at least I'm not the only one. And there was like songs that when you got your heart broken, that you listen to the lyrics and you go, that's exactly how I feel. And I just feel like the music today does not reflect that whatsoever at all.
I feel like the music, even if the content, the lyrics, and CR's actually new song kind of made me think about this thought as well. And I'm not trying to combat anything you're saying.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Just
Please
the
do.
thought that was sparked from it. It's like the music, even if it's not directly having content related to what's going on in the world or trying to bring people together, it still is bringing a feeling that we all remember of, like, you hear a certain song in a club, it brings us all together. We all jump up and down,
Absolutely.
we dance
Yes.
together. So it's like,
Yes.
I feel like no matter what the music is about, it's still evoking a feeling
Yeah.
that is relevant to what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the current time, it's a time we experience.
Yeah, go look at a clip from the '99 Woodstock, and I don't know how many people there were, 2 million, 3 million, I don't know. It was ridiculous. And go look at either Limp Bizkit or Kid Rock or Metallica or Nine Inch Nails, and the crowd was going fucking nuts. And Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst even said to the crowd, before he played his, like one of his top hits, he said, if you have a problem with me, if you got a problem with home, you got a problem with your parents, you got a problem at school, you got a problem at work, take it out right here, right now. And then there was mosh pits and people going nuts and so on and so forth. And maybe, just maybe, the young kids don't have that outlet anymore.
Yeah, I think they're not using it the same, right? Like earlier music, they were using it as like a cathartic release, like you were just saying. Like they used it to express themselves. I think now the younger generation is using music to numb themselves rather than using it as an outlet. Like some of them are like, there's certain artists that like Juice WRLD, when you listen to his catalog, he was talking about his issues a lot in his music. Yeah. He was using it as a platform to talk about what he was going through, but it's not easily relatable to older generation because the drugs are different, everything's a little bit different. But I feel that the newer generation, they're doing it, but they're numbing them. They're using it to numb themselves. Like they're talking about the codeine, they're talking about the drugs, the pills. You know what I'm saying? And that's like a common thread in a lot of the new music, and that's what makes me feel like they're using it as a way. That's why they rather talk about quote unquote meaningless things or stuff like that, because that's when they feel happy or that's when they don't worry about whatever anxiety or depression they're dealing with. Right. And I understand that, but it does end up missing that substance that we've gotten in music earlier in the era.
Everything seems to be like even when you watch movies now. Movies are either superhero movies or Star Wars.
Some fantasy shit.
Nothing is real. I mean, they don't make tearjerkers anymore. Movies that are extremely sad. You watch it. I remember watching the movie. It was a movie called The Champ. And it was with Ricky Schroeder and what's his name? John Voight. And John Voight played a fighter who was like a so-so fighter. He was one of those guys that you throw in the ring to get to the next level. And, at the end, he winds up dying right after the fight. And it's such a terror. Oh my God, like you want to cry. It's ridiculous. You really don't see much of that anymore. It's it's, and
media is banking off of dopamine. That's why.
Yeah, that's
exactly what it is.
But it's getting back to your point. Every generation had that drug culture. Every generation had that drug culture and that zoning out culture and so on and so forth. Going back to Native Americans. It's not. It's
nothing new.
No, it really isn't. But it's just, I don't know why you get to a certain age and you just always think that your generation is better than the next. And the truth of the matter is, some things are better. Some things aren't.
That's every generation.
And every generation. I mean, you could talk about sports. I remember when LeBron James was coming up, and I was working, and there was this older guy. He was a pipe fitter, and he was a huge basketball fan. And he's like, he's nothing against Wilt. Wilt the Stilt was the man, And I'm like,
you don't remember Wilt the Stilt?
Shit. Constantly comparing it, and that's just the way it is. But
it's the truth. It's about perspective.
And those things are never going to change. They're never. They do. I know. I'm a bodybuilding fan, and I see it now. Like the old bodybuilders, like the guys like the Dorian Yateses and the Ronnie Colemans and the Sean Rays and the Kevin Luther. They keep saying, "Oh, these new guys today, they don't know how to suffer. They don't know how to work hard. They don't come in shape." And it's like, yeah, they do. You just think your generation's better.
That's all.
It's same crap.
Literally.
But I made a couple of stupid videos too. I don't know if you saw the one. I don't know. Did you see the one called "Titties Lives Matter"?
No. I wish I did.
Yeah.
What was that one about?
Because I agree.
Basically, what it was when in the 1990s, when I was growing up, every woman wanted these huge boobs, and they would get these giant breast implants, and the trend was started from Pam Anderson and Carmen Electra, and then now it's gone to like girls don't really want huge boobs anymore, but they want huge butts. They want big big asses, and which is great, you know.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
but
Right.
I don't understand why you can't have both.
Right. I'm greedy. I want to see them both. Like,
But it's
Yeah.
basically like it's a fad, and people jump into the trend, and then I talked about what's the name Jesus Christ, what's the girl's name that started the fad for all the big asses?
Nicki Minaj.
No.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
Buffy the
what's her
Body.
name? No, the Jesus
What she look
Christ. Kardashian, Kim Kardashian.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Kim.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and now you see all these girls, they have these and then what I got to when women have natural big breasts and they just want to get a reduction.
Mm-hmm.
And
those back pains.
yeah, that they always blame it on the back pain. So in the video, I said, "Oh, go to the gym and do some deadlifts, and do some one-arm rows, and keep those titties, because titties lives matter." And it was pretty funny, but then there was. But for the most,
You got some flack for that video for sure.
I actually, the thing is, it's all about clickbait. So when it says titties lives matter, girls aren't clicking it, guys are.
Yeah.
But when it's the one that says this one's for the ladies, and I talked about the values that men hold in women when they want to settle down, that one I got a lot of shit for. Or the bonding between how men bond and the difference how men bond and how women bond. I got a lot of shit for that one too.
What?
Yeah, because the value thing, basically the only single girls came after me. Like, not a lot, but a handful of single girls came after me. Like, no, that's not true. And it's like, well, you're single, so maybe it is true. You know?
What was one of the things that they were trying to rebut?
Oh, well, they were trying to say that, because the first thing I said was, men don't give a shit how much money you make.
That's a fact.
I don't care about how much money you make. And their attitude was, and then I rechanged it, and I said, well, let me change that. I said, men that are alpha men that are very ambitious don't care about how much money you make.
Because we got our own shit.
Because we either got our own or we're going to get it.
Yeah.
And I had this one girl that I used to know when I used to compete in bodybuilding, and she mentioned her last boyfriend. It was like, he cared about how much money I made, and I'm like, well, you didn't hear the second part, did I? I said, real men.
He's your ex.
Yeah, and you're single.
Yeah.
You know? And I just said to her, how old are you? And she goes, 39. And I said, you're 39 and you're single. She goes, yeah. But then she goes, but I'm not meant to be with anybody. So I said, even if that's true, then you can't even be part of this argument, then, can you? Look, and then I said to her, if you come at me, if you were married for 25 years in a healthy relationship and you tell me I'm wrong, I'm all ears, because obviously I overlooked something. But if you're telling me that you're single and you can't keep a man, and you're going to tell me what men value in women, it doesn't make any sense.
No, you obviously are not an expert.
Yeah. But it's the rock that hit the dog in the yard, basically, is what happened, you know. Then I had my cousin, she freaked out on me, and then my other cousin bugged out on me, and I was just like, I don't know.
That's gonna happen,
Yeah,
and it's
especially
good.
when you speak the truth,
But that's good, because I think any kind of media, any kind of art is supposed to evoke reaction and emotion. It's supposed to make you feel some type of way, hate it or love it.
No, it's true. It's
supposed to make you feel some type of way. So you're doing your job.
And there's another thing I'll say that's going to be obviously very. When men go through issues, when they're going through problems, they want to know the truth, because they want to know where they could fix it.
Yeah.
When women are going through problems, they don't want to know the truth. They want to hear dialogue that makes them feel better, because everything is emotional. So I'm sure you've heard this before. Like, a girl and her girlfriend are out, and the girl just breaks up with her boyfriend, or the boyfriend breaks up with her, and her girlfriend goes, oh, he's an asshole. You're wonderful, and you're too good for him, and he's just an asshole. It's like, really? I mean, why am I wonderful? What did I do? Pass a fucking math class? What did I? And he was probably just a regular jerk, or maybe they just didn't get along, But he's an asshole, and you're wonderful, and that's usually how it goes. And they just want to make you feel better, instead of saying to yourself, well, but maybe I did something wrong, right? Because it takes two to tango, and you can't change him. So maybe it's time to change me. They don't want to hear that shit.
No, they don't want to hear that shit.
They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. Like, and I've lost friends that I went to high school with because I said that, and I've never spoken to them again. And because I've said, look, if you just make yourself, like I remember there was this girl. Jesus Christ, what was her name?
You don't need to say a name.
No, I could say her first name. She don't talk to me anymore. It doesn't matter. Angela. I don't want to say her name. Really Italian name. But anyway, she was in her 30s. This was right before I was living on my own. This was right before I met my wife, and we were talking. And we went to high school together. And she was like living with her parents, and she was working in like a clothing store, you know. And she's like, I can't. Or the guys that I meet, and she was typical, you know, the nails and the hair and the makeup and superficial and still living with her parents and not making herself any better. Didn't go to school. Didn't have a trade. Nothing like that. And I actually said to her, I think her name was Angela. I'll just keep it Angela. I don't remember, but whatever. I said, Angie, you know, if you make yourself better, if you better yourself, you'll meet a better type of man. Never spoke to me again after that. That was it. Never spoke to me again.
Because you know how she heard it?
Yeah.
She heard it as, I'm not shit, I'm not good
something
enough.
with her, yeah.
Right.
How could I ever find a good man?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what she heard.
That's exactly. So it's not. A lot of women, it's not what you say, but it's how they perceive it.
That's how certain people. That's how I feel like I would take advice from other people. Like that's what I would hear, that negative connotation to what they're trying to say. But it's really for your own betterment.
It is, and if you are hearing, especially if you're a dude, right? If you're hearing something negative all the time, but it's a friend of yours that's trying to help you, and you're still shitting on yourself, there's work that's got to be done. There's some internal work. You're insecure, so on and so forth. Because maybe, you know, after like a minute of feeling bad, and then you think about it, and you say to yourself, you know what, he's right. You know, if he's a good friend anyway, you know. But you don't want to continuously blame yourself, but you got to take the blame when necessary.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Yeah, you can't, you know. But it's very, very difficult. Did you see the one? I took a lot of shit for the one about women don't need men, but not for reasons that you think.
I actually think I have something in response to that. But
You know,
yeah.
I got a lot of shit for that one too.
What was one of the major points about that video?
The major point was, you know, women in this country have tremendous opportunity to go out and go to school and get a career and start a business and make tremendous strides. And we've seen women do it, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of women who say they don't need a man, but they're not doing anything independent. They're just replacing the man with somebody.
Damn, that's so true.
Or replacing the man with the government. So like if you live in a lower socioeconomic neighborhood and you're a single mom, you can get Section 8, you can get, you know, food stamps, you can get welfare, you can get Medicare, all for you and your kid, and you don't need a man. And listen, sometimes good, sometimes, you know, you with a shitty guy and you made mistakes and you need help. But there are some women that, you know, literally just go, no, I really don't need a man, but you need the government. And then when you get to like a middle class or lower middle class or upper middle class, then they're replacing the man with their family.
And that's what I was about to say, because that was my ex.
Yeah.
One of my ex-girlfriends, she grew up in a household where it was, I don't need no man, nothing. But it was more or less like her and her mom were in the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, they bought the condo together. They split the bills together.
So you don't need a man, but you need your mother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're my age.
So you're not independent.
You're not.
You know, and they want to scream. Now, okay, there are plenty of women that don't need a man and legitimately don't need a man, but they're not the women screaming about it.
No. They're just confident. You just know.
Yeah.
They just live in life. They don't look at it as something they need to brag about.
Right.
It's a standard.
Yeah.
This is regular life for them.
And they probably either have a man or they want a man that has the same amount of ambition as they are, or they legitimately. But the girls that like we run into, or the girls that, you know, I run into, that are single and living at home or living still, you know, 40 and have 2 kids and live with your parents, and then they start saying there's no good guys out there. And, you know, look, let's take my ex girl I was dating. I'm 44, she's got to be 40. She has a 14-year-old son now, okay? I'm not going to mention any names, but she was engaged 3 times. If I was a single guy, and she's really pretty, and if I was a single guy, and we're talking, and blah, 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 and you got a kid, and you live with your parents, and you're 40 years old, and he's 14, and you were engaged 3 times,
There's a problem.
I'm out. That's it. That is the last conversation I'm having with you. It's not that there's no other guys. It's you've made shit choices in life. You know,
nobody's gonna want to take that baggage.
Nobody.
I'm sorry.
You know, I mean, what do you? And if 3 guys proposed and you all 3 either backed out or you broke up with them, that says a lot about you. You know,
Something's consistent there.
and you know, and a lot of these people don't want to change.
They have a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset.
Or they pick guys that are worthless. That drives me crazy.
Because they're easier to manipulate.
Yeah,
and they still end up being miserable.
I say there's 3 type of men out there, right? There is. Did we talk about this last time? I don't remember.
I remember you mentioned it in the video.
It sounds familiar from a video.
There was 3 types of men.
I know. Remember 2. I remember 2. I don't remember the third one.
The 3 types of men out there, generally speaking, is the first one is the peasant. Mm-hmm. Which is the guy that is the normal guy. He goes out, he works, he makes a living, but he's not going to go above and beyond. But he's not going to let you starve either. You know, he's just going to kind of go. He's just going to be.
The way he says it.
Yeah. I'm just real frank. Just real straightforward. And then the second type of guy is the king, the guy that is extremely alpha. I'm making the money, and you don't have to worry about it. And he demands respect, and he's going to take care of you. He's going to take care of your kids, and he's going to. You know, and that is his internal belief and his internal responsibility. And then then there's the guy I refer to as the pimp, who is the biggest piece of shit guy you could ever meet. And that's the guy that doesn't want to work and uses his girl to work and bring home the money.
Oh my god!
And somehow manipulates and convinces her that she needs to work and he doesn't have to. And I've seen this. I've had family members.
I've seen it.
I have family members like this, and me and my brothers are scratching our heads, going, "Why the fuck is she with this person?"
Why?
You know, I mean, he is useless. And when a man is manipulative, to me, you are the biggest piece of shit, because men are supposed to go out and get their hands dirty. So you're not even reflecting a manly trait. You're a bitch.
You're really just trying to manipulate and use people.
And that, to me, you are the worst. You know, that's why I call them pimps, because you know that's what pimps do.
Right.
They let the girls out there to make the money, and then you better bring it home.
Yeah.
You know, that was the basis of Charles Manson, right? Charles Manson said to all these girls that were outcasts, you know, nobody cares about you except me. You have family here, and then they literally would do everything, include murder, for him. You know, meanwhile he never picked up a gun or a knife to kill.
He's the one with the was he the one with the Kool-Aid?
No, that was a different. That was a guy who had a cult. This one had the SWAT sticker on his head.
Oh, okay.
That psychopath, and he had, like, in the 60s, he had what he referred to as the family, and it was mostly women, because it was mostly outcast young girls that didn't have families, and he would bring them in, and he would kind of give them this idea that you now have this structure in this family, and that's what they stuck to. There was some guys, but mostly girls, and they went out and they killed for him. Wow. You know, and they obviously got arrested, and you know they arrested him, and he spent his entire life in jail. But he was a psychopath. He was also like 5 foot tall. Yeah, he was.
So he had.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was really small, really small. Me and my cousin do these segments on serial killers, and we didn't do Manson yet, but when you see some of these backgrounds of these serial killers, it's like you literally had no choice. Like you literally, like you were born into the worst conditions possible.
That's a very common thing.
And it's just like, of course, you look at their background. Of course you did. You know, it's unbelievable. But we did this one on, what was his name? Jerry Brudos. And this guy was, he had an older brother, but when he was born, his mother wanted a daughter. So she would belittle him because she didn't want another son. He wanted a daughter, and she would constantly remind her how she wanted a daughter. And then all of a sudden, by the age of 5, he started having these shoe fetishes, these female shoe fetishes. And then when he went to grade school, he tried stealing shoes from his first grade teacher. And then it got to the point where when he was a teenager, he would break into people's houses and steal shoes and underwear. And then it just progressed, and it got to the point where he would dress up as a woman and go out and attack and rape and murder women.
Wow.
Yeah, and when they finally arrested him, he had a garage full of women's shoes that he'd stolen. An entire garage.
What do you think the ratio is between the amount of serial killers that are white men and black men?
Oh, it's clearly mostly a white man thing. But the serial not many serial killers anymore because they get caught quick now. Forensics is so advanced now, they get caught quick. Back in the 70s and 80s, what'd you have, a fingerprint?
Right.
Tracks.
Yeah.
They be trying to find him
Eyewitness.
for years.
Now you have
Eyewitness news.
Now you have mass shootings. That's the big thing. Now you have mass shootings. I made this joke to my cousin. I was like, I guarantee you there is some serial killer sitting in jail going, these kids today, they don't know how to do it, man. They don't put the time or effort into nothing.
They microwave everything. Take your time, goddammit.
Yeah. Don't you know you always get caught when you mass shoot? Jesus.
Yo, that's true. That's sick, but it's true.
It's fucking the truth.
It's true.
I have a thought / question / topic that I kind of wanted to be on this podcast for a long time, but I needed time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like lately we've been hearing the term defund the police.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about this a lot. I feel like that's a plight of passion. Everyone is reacting in a passionate way towards these things, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Black people being murdered and injustice is very prevalent, and it's mostly done by the hands of the police department.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think taking away funding from the police is a good thing long term. People are screaming for change within the departments. People are screaming for these officers to be taken out. But if you want change to come, you're going to need, when you take these people out, you're going to have to put people in. That's going to require what?
Money.
Funding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you want these people to go through these courses and have change, you're going to need the money. So I just don't really, I'm a bit confused on what people really want exactly.
Yeah, people don't know what they want.
I think a good solution that I heard on a podcast is replacing, or not replacing officers, but like adding social workers to the police department as well to require certain things.
The person that has to go on a the person that's actually doing the policing and going to look for a drug dealer, a murder suspect, should not be the same person directing traffic. Right? Right. You shouldn't be like, okay, today you're with so-and-so and you're going to go, to the shittiest neighborhood and go look for this guy, and then tomorrow you're in Midtown directing traffic. It should be, the funding should
Different
be completely allocated differently, and the training needs to be done. And
specific for what you're doing.
Exactly. And there needs... People like to say that they like to say that, oh well, she was in her boyfriend's apartment and dealing with it, and he shot first, but she got shot 6 times, and then there were shots fired in the next apartment. So what does that mean? That means they shit their pants and just start shooting.
Letting it go.
You can't tell me those are well-trained police officers.
No, they weren't.
They were scared. There's nothing
there was nothing well-trained about them.
And the sad part is that's not even on the table. Like when it's...
Nobody's even said that.
It's not even negotiations and retraining and reallocating the funds. Because not only would the streets be safer, but the police officer would be safer if they were able to handle situations differently. Mm-hmm. Negotiating should be something that's strong. Being able to de-escalate a situation. They should, you have to be able to control your own emotions. I guarantee you that if you have some kind of military training, some upscale military training, it should help. You can't. I think it's a mistake if somebody is in police academy for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and you throw them right out on the street.
Yeah, and that happens all the time.
And it happens all the time.
All the time.
And I think somebody who's directing traffic shouldn't be the same person as somebody giving tickets shouldn't be the same person. It should be totally, completely different.
Adding social workers to like the police force, I think that's like a great idea.
Absolutely.
Like, that's like the greatest alternative I think I've heard. But like when I say all this to say, like, to I guess clarify, like, I'm trying to figure out a solution just as much as everyone else is. Like, I care about this stuff just as much as the next person. But I just don't think, just the defunding, just, that word just really didn't make a lot of sense. No,
it's a catchphrase the media likes to throw around.
So I'm trying to figure out a solution.
And what it does is it divides. It makes a divide in between. The media knows what they're doing.
They're using. I think they're using that synonymously with power, right? Because we associate money with power. So when you hear defund the police, we're kind of they're trying to get us to say, "Oh, we're trying to take power away from the police."
Right.
Yeah. But in reality, like you said, logistically, that doesn't make sense.
And they used, they use these catchphrases and it splits people down the middle. I remember when John Kerry was running against George Bush, and they called John Kerry a flip-flopper. Flip-flop, he's a flip-flopper, he's a flip-flop. And then you ask somebody what did he flip-flop on, and they couldn't tell you.
But everybody called him a flip-flopper.
It's a term, it's part of the American thing.
Yeah, and it's the same thing that they do now. Defund the police, and then like all the right-wing people are going. They're looking to take the police away and abolish the police, and it's like, it's just. I've been trying to do this video, but I don't know how to go about this video. Just kind of runs along the same lines as the music one. Just bear with me though. There doesn't seem in this generation, this time and now, there doesn't seem to be anyone or any person or any system trying to bring us together anymore. So when I was growing up, you had things like Hands Across America. You had things like Jerry Lewis had a telethon. Musicians came together and they did "We Are the World." They came together. They did "That's What Friends Are For." Oprah Winfrey had, in the LA riots in the early '90s, I forgot what his name was, but there was a white guy who was driving a truck. They pulled him out and they beat him, and Oprah Winfrey had the guy and the guy who beat him down on her show just to talk and have a civil conversation and have an understanding, and at the end they shook hands. Nobody is doing that today. No, not one.
There's no mediators.
There's nothing. No. If Dana White could still put fights on, then you could hold a concert and generate funds and donate it. And it's not happening. No. Why? Joe Rogan just signed the biggest deal of his life with Spotify with his. Why can't he have, let's say, I don't know, for argument's sake, the mother or wife of George Floyd, and then the mother or wife of a police officer that was killed during the riots, and just have them come and civilly
talk about both sides
and talk about both sides. And that's not even, nobody's even doing that. And you can you have people donate money, because people would donate money.
Yeah, because they're going to tune in.
And you could donate the money to the families that have lost people from getting killed by the police, and families that got killed from the police department, police officers that are getting killed. Nobody's even looking to do that. I've never seen it split down the middle.
Everyone has an agenda,
and it's sad. It's like you forgot what it was like to be American and be compassionate.
Damn, it's so true. Nobody's doing that.
Nobody's I don't get it. There would constantly be musicians that would make music and that would put on shows and donate the money to charity and so on and so forth for whatever cause, and nothing.
Well, we don't know that it's not happening. It's just not happening publicly.
That's true too.
But why wouldn't it? Like if you have the platform to do it, why wouldn't it happen publicly?
I'm with you.
What's the point of doing something like that privately? You're not solving anything.
It's not influencing anything.
Even, like we're doing it, right?
Having conversations.
But we don't have much of a platform.
Right. It's not as big as them.
It's not as big as Joe Rogan or what's the other guy, Valuetainment. Yeah. It's like, great. I want to see Mike Tyson on Joe Rogan. That's wonderful. I'm a huge fight fan. But I think it would make a tremendous impact if he did something like that. He could do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? He could do it. And it's just not even on the table.
We're getting kind of short on time.
Oh, okay.
So
I'll pass it to you.
Yes. This is one of my favorite parts of the show, Uncle John. How would you like to play a game, sir?
Yes.
The game is called This or That. The rules to the game are that you have to make a choice between two impossible ultimatums. We start light and usually end heavy. I usually allow the guest to answer first, and then we Jeff, then me.
Okay.
That's a good-looking sandwich, Jeff.
Yeah, what are you eating?
Yeah.
Oh,
Fucking
shit.
starving.
I can tell that you're single. Holy, look at that sandwich. Looks like you just put cheese in it and smashed it down with a hammer.
I'm talking about that. It's fucking chicken.
I'm done.
All right.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
Lakers or Celtics?
Oh, Lakers.
All day.
Yeah.
Lakers.
Lakers.
Me
No
too.
question.
Lakers. Bud Light or Coors Light?
It's not even oh, God, Coors Light, I guess.
Right? They both taste like piss.
Yeah, that's true.
Beer tastes the same, Bud Light. Fuck
Yeah.
it. I like Bud Light.
Yeah, I'd probably just say Bud Light just because I live close to the factory. All right. Lasagna or baked ziti?
It's the same thing.
Is this a racist question because he's Italian?
No, but it's literally
Is it?
It's the same.
But it's
thing.
different noodles.
That's all it is. It's the same thing.
So
I would go. I would.
and it's not racist. It's he would know.
Not racist, but like.
But
It
I
is-
didn't know it's the same
it's-
thing.
But you did that for a reason.
Yes,
You put-
because he's Italian.
That's not racist.
There you go.
But that's not racist.
Not
It's
Not
racist, but
racist.
he
It's
did it on
not.
purpose.
It should be because I'm Italian. You should.
It's
cater-
cultural.
You should cater
Cultural,
to me.
whatever.
Yes, my questions are catered
Yeah.
to John.
Yeah.
Shut up.
It's literally the same thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you for educating
It's
me.
just different pasta that they use, and it's just that's it. Now I would go with because of my upbringing, my mother made better begziti than lasagna because she always overcooked it and the edges of the pasta were burnt.
Yeah,
and that was
yeah.
always the best part.
I like ziti. I like ziti. I'm
Same.
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I like ziti. I can't lie. All right. Garlic bread or garlic knots?
Oh, garlic bread.
Fuck yeah, garlic bread, nice and
Garlic
buttered
bread.
too.
Yeah. All right, bet. All right. See, I had to add some more diversity with this one. Real Jamaican jerk chicken or real Southern fried chicken?
I've never had real Jamaican jerk chicken.
You never had, and that's why I asked that. That's why I asked that because I want to know if you ever had
so
it.
I've had Southern fried chicken, so
Oh,
I'd have to go with that only because I never had real Jamaican.
Do you like spicy food?
Eh.
Not really.
Nah.
Okay. So that might not be for you.
Yeah.
But if you did, yeah, it'd be real good. What about you?
Jamaican.
Yeah, I'm
Jerk
going
chicken.
for that jerk chicken.
There's this restaurant here called Miss Lily's. I definitely recommend that. It's
Yeah?
a solid Jamaican spot.
All right, I gotta give it a shot.
I don't know why I put this in, but fuck it. Red Kool-Aid or blue Kool-Aid?
Oh, red.
Yeah, red. I don't think I've ever even had blue.
I had blue before, but I'd rather red. I'd rather
Yeah.
red.
Yeah.
All right. Walk naked in the middle of Manhattan in wintertime or go jogging in a hoodie in Arizona deserts.
No, I'd go jogging in a hoodie in Arizona. You don't want to see me naked, especially in the middle of the winter.
Right, I had to add that part in there.
Yeah,
especially in the middle of the winter. You won't want to see me.
I would definitely go jogging in the desert.
Yeah,
That
Right,
sounds
lose
fun,
mad
too.
weight. Yeah. I'll be in the desert. Fuck that shit. All right. Listen to loud music until you're deaf or stare at the sun until you're blind.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
I'd say, I guess, the music. No, but they actually use that as torture, right? Don't
do.
they don't like terrorists act like they actually just play this loud ass music until you are just.
And they do it so you can't go to sleep too.
Yeah,
they keep you awake for hours.
Yeah, they showed that on what was the
I
show?
seen a movie or show.
What was the one with Jason Bateman? What's that great?
I
show?
know exactly what you're talking
That
about.
scene.
Ozark.
Ozark.
That was
scene.
it. That's
Yeah,
it. Yes,
yeah.
that's exactly where I got it
It's
from.
in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll listen to music. Fuck it.
I'd
Yeah.
rather go deaf. I feel like that'd be less painful than watching the sun. All right. Get a hand job from a female bodybuilder with rough hands or get pegged by your celebrity crush.
No. Hand job from bodybuilder. Hand job from bodybuilder. For two reasons. One, I have this strange fetish for female bodybuilders.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I see that for some reason.
Yeah, I have this strange fetish for female bodybuilders. I'm dying to interview one. That's like my ultimate goal. I want to interview, and especially if the female bodybuilder has huge breast implants. But I have this tremendous fetish.
I get
I don't know. Nah.
You're an athlete. You like lifting weights, so it's
Yeah,
kind of like
I
you know
don't
what I'm
know.
saying. Like
And what's funny is those girls never.
they never attracted to you.
No.
Oh.
Any fitness girl with any muscle doesn't want anything to do with me for some reason.
What?
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't care because you're married.
It's true, but I'm still telling you the truth.
Yeah. Right. Still venting.
No, Yo, by the way, this guy's mad strong. I saw your video where you were doing the leg press.
Presses, yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, it was 1100.
I missed those
Jesus.
days, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
11. You want, but then go look at Ronnie Coleman when he used to leg press.
That's crazy.
Ronnie Coleman would leg press 2,300 for reps.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
literally a ton.
Like I'll be the strongest guy in the gym, but I'm a big fish in a small pond.
All right.
That's okay.
Lick sugar cubes out of Ellen DeGeneres' ass, or lick sugar cubes out of Whoopi Goldberg's ass.
No, Ellen. Ellen. It's not really, It's something about both of those women that were tremendous comedians, and now they just bitch and moan.
They really suck.
They were so funny when they first were coming up. Like Whoopi Goldberg was a legend, and now it's like she just bitches and moans. I don't know, but I'd have to do it at Ellen.
I really don't like either of them.
I don't know why, but when I created this, I was thinking of Jeff. I don't know why. I was just thinking of Jeff.
Yeah, I'm going with Whoopi, man. Ellen did some fuck shit, man. She knew what was going on in her company. Don't act like
Yeah. I heard she's an evil woman.
Don't act like
On the
she's
low.
trying to act like she didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck her.
Yeah.
I'm going with Whoopi, man.
I respect it. I guess, go for the chocolate.
Black butts matter.
All right. Marry a popular stripper or marry a popular porn star?
What's the difference?
Yeah, there's just no difference, literally.
One does it on camera, one doesn't. Huge difference.
One what?
One does it on camera, one doesn't.
Yeah, I guess I'd go with the porn star because maybe I can get something out of it. But any man who marries a stripper or a porn star is just a goddamn idiot. And I don't get me wrong, they're sexy as hell, and I'd want
They're
to sleep
fun.
with one, but I would never want to marry one. Right. Do you imagine the headache? What'd you do today, honey? Oh, do you really want to hear about my job?
Right. Do you want to know how many guys shoved their dicks in my face
Yeah,
today?
yeah.
I'm going with a porn star for real.
Yeah, I'd go with the porn star.
Okay. Orgy with residents of a local nursing home, or orgy with your coworkers.
Oh, that's fucking horrible.
Yeah, impossible.
No, I'd have to. Oh my god, dude. First of all, I would need hydraulics. Either way, I would not be able to get it up. I would need like some kind of implant.
So fucking the strongest Viagra pills they have.
Yeah. That's a rough one. I'm only gonna go with the nursing home because I work with old dudes.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to operate under either conditions. It would be impossible. It would be completely impossible.
I definitely work with some girls who I want to have sex with, so I'm going with my coworkers.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if I had women that I worked with, yeah, but.
Damn, I work by myself. I don't know if that counts.
So you kind of do that every night before you go to
Right?
bed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right. So, yeah, coworkers, guys. Yeah, I'm going for a meeting after today.
Well, no, you work with other Uber drivers, you just don't know them. You're employed by the same person, same company.
Well, yeah, then definitely there's some hot, female Uber Lyft drivers. Hell
Impossible ultimatum.
Yeah. Impossible. All right, last one. Work as a personal assistant for your biggest enemy, or work as a personal assistant for Donald Trump.
No, I'm going with Trump. I'm going with Trump. Because after that's done, you know what kind of fucking job offers you're going to get after that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan, but...
You might go to jail fucking with Trump.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, that's on your resume. Yeah, I worked for Donald Trump. And he just handed
Somebody's going to give you a job.
There's no question about it.
I don't have any enemies, so...
Yeah, my worst enemy, my worst enemy is probably some ex-girlfriend that hates my guts. Like I was engaged when I was in my 20s and I broke it off and I destroyed this girl. That'd probably be my worst. She probably still wishes death on me.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was bad.
Can you imagine being her personal assistant?
And I didn't even do it like I was such a coward about it. Like what happened was I was messing around with this other girl and she went through my phone and called the girl when I didn't know. Right?
Yeah.
And every day she would we would talk. Every day we would talk on before I went to bed or whatever. And for like 2 nights she was ignoring me. I was like, what the hell's going on? I call, right? And then finally she sent me this big email telling me what happened. And I just basically was like, this is my way out. This is my way out. And instead of just saying, I just let it ride, like a coward. It was the worst cowardly move I ever made in my life.
Because you just didn't want to be with him.
I
no
literally
more.
got in the car and I was driving to the house, and I turned around and came back. And I went, if I want out, now's the time. And it was just
You went back.
awful.
Double
It was
back.
just awful. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was bad.
Was it just because you really didn't want to be with her?
I know. I didn't want to get married. I wasn't.
Oh,
ready to get
that's all it
married.
was.
But the thing is, she was a great person, and I still to this day have a little bit of
Regret.
regret over that. But I mean, look, we all make mistakes, man. Shit happens. It's
Big lesson learned.
Yeah.
So we like to end this podcast off with a segment titled "Don't Sleep," where it's basically we recommend something to the audience they shouldn't sleep on. It could be something as simple as something you had to eat recently, a movie, or it could be something a bit deeper.
Okay.
Mine is this video, and it's in reference to not sleeping on me. Hold up.
You now. I have plans that I cannot share with you right now because the haters will sabotage me. I have plans that I cannot share with you right now because the haters will sabotage me. I have plans that I will not share right now because the haters will sabotage me. But I got some stuff in the works.
Now, if you're not familiar with that voice, that was Dr. Umar Johnson. Please look into him.
Okay.
I got a lot going on, man. I got a lot planned, a lot of special stuff coming, and coming from looking back into who I was, probably around the last time Uncle John was on this podcast, I was a different person. I was trapped in that whole depression. But rather than live in that hole, I found a portal and got out of that. So when I play that video and Dr. Umar Johnson says I got a lot of stuff coming, I also do. And I just want you to be prepared because I'm on a path to change my life forever. And if you've been riding with me on this journey with the podcast, you've heard me express my grievances, you heard me express my stress, you heard me express my sadness. But just know, I'm on a different level now, and I'm ready to change my life. And I just hope whoever's been riding with me up to this point will continue to ride for me and embrace the changes in my life going forward.
I smell a check.
You got something?
What?
A check.
You got something?
I don't know. I just the way you talking, I smell a check.
Man, you know.
The ink
Well,
is
I mean,
fresh.
that's what's supposed to happen when you have shit times. You know, I don't want to take up too much more time because I know we're limited on time, but that's why you have to be able to be strong and be responsible because chaos is around the corner constantly. You could have a stretch where your life is tremendous, it's fun, but shit will happen, and you have to be strong enough and responsible enough to deal with it and then come out as a better person afterwards. And it seems like that's exactly what happened with you. You know, you have to. You're never gonna. Nothing's ever gonna be always wonderful.
No.
You're gonna hit, and it could be the worst. It could be terrible. It could be. You know, everybody's a little different on how they look at tragedies. But if you learn from it and come out as a different person, then it was beneficial.
I agree with that.
Pain is a sign of progress.
Yep.
It is. That's why, like right now, this fucking progress is pretty painful. Getting out of this apartment, moving to this new shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a challenge, but fuck it. I know I'm about to be a better person after this. I'm gonna be on another level financially because I'm gonna hustle harder. You know, because I'm not just gonna make enough to pay my bills. I want to have more than enough to pay my bills. So now it's just gonna make me work even harder.
Proud of you, man.
Thanks, man. I'm inviting the challenge. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what has to be done.
Is that a part of your don't sleep?
Oh yeah, man. Don't sleep on stepping out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you got to put yourself in a position to sink or swim, and you'll surprise yourself. You know, I'm at a point now that I'm just not afraid of like living life and doing things that I haven't done before. I'm learning how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that shit is making my life so much more interesting.
Uncle John, do you have anything the audience shouldn't sleep on?
Not really.
Tell them don't sleep on your show.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Something simple.
Right. No, well, I mean, it's different. I'm in a different phase of life. So you guys are in the phase of life where you are making things happen, and I'm in a phase of life where I'm trying to create new things happening. Right? I've done what you guys have done already.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where it's like, okay, well, I need a new endeavor.
Yeah.
And something new. But I think for young men, my show is very informative. I think
I
young women
agree.
too. But I think young men, my show is extremely informative. I don't think there's a lot of information for young guys out there on how to get along. There's plenty for women, and I think it's very, very. I think my channel is informative for a lot of young guys, and it's pretty straightforward, and I think it's a bit of an eye opener for these young guys, and they have to understand how to deal with people and deal with life and deal with responsibilities and deal with the craziness that happens. And I try to put a little bit of emphasis on that on my channel, give out a little bit of education on it.
Well, shout out where people can follow and support you and subscribe to your YouTube channel and all that.
My YouTube channel is Serious and Silliness, and it's spelled with one word, Serious and A-N-D, Silliness. And you could also reach me at UncleJohn1201@gmail or Serious and Silliness at Instagram.
Appreciate having you on.
I appreciate
second
being
time
here.
around.
Thanks a lot, man. I love it. It's fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this time it was in person.
Yeah,
We got
it felt better
in-person
than that.
vibes.
Yeah.
Had him in the studio. It's crazy. Like he started off just as a Lyft rider with me.
That's it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I might
Now
need
look,
you
we're
again. I got to bring my car back in.
It's crazy, yo. It's just crazy, man. Networking's amazing. People.
Shout out where people can find you.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely find me on Instagram at CR_908 or find me in your local streets driving Lyft.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at theab360. Follow me on Twitter at that ambitious guy, THC ambitious guy on Twitter. YouTube.com/introverted intuition. Please subscribe. At introverted intuition pod on Instagram, introverted pod on Twitter, and yeah, that's it. Email introvertedpod@yahoo.com. Don't send me your music. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Uncle John.
Of course.
Thank you so much,
Coming
CR.
through, man.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
being-
much,
Anytime,
Dom.
man.
Dom. And
Thanks,
thank you
Dom.
for listening.